But each one of us have been given something, okay, that we're called to give away. We've been given, and we're called to share it. It could be a talent. It could be a word. It could be days, dollars, or deeds. And so Marissa's going to come up and she's going to share with us how God has impacted her in using her and how God wants to then partner with our church with Safe Families for Children. So would you clap for Marissa Hayner? She comes up right now. Hey, this says RF mute on. What does that mean, Isai? Oh, wait, let me push another button here. I got it. Is this on? Can you guys hear me? Just kidding. There it is. Hi, Marissa. How are you?
You look good. Thank you.
I'm just going to leave all my stuff right there.
All right.
Yeah,
I won't touch it. Change your nose a little bit. Happy New Year, everybody. Again, my name is Marissa Hayner, and I'm excited to be here and just share a little slice of my world. I've actually lived in Lincoln County for 24 years, so this is my home. My family originally came up from Southern California. But I just want to share, I'm mainly going to be sharing my story to you. That's what Jesus modeled, in the Bible, more so in the New Testament, is sharing stories. Is this like echoing? Yeah. Is that better? Okay. And so I'm going to share my story with you today. Really briefly, I'm going to talk a little bit about Safe Families. We have a little table in the back, and so if you want to learn more about how to get involved with Safe Families for Children, come and chat with me, and I'll give you some information. But what Safe Families is we're a local nonprofit, and we support families in crisis. They might be homeless, fleeing from domestic violence, experiencing unexpected hospitalization, maybe needing to go to a treatment program or serve some time in jail. These families are in crisis and they're in isolation. They don't have a support system. You can look at your life and your family and just think about all the people that pour into you. There's families in our community that don't have that, whether they're single parents, two-parent families, grandparents raising their kids. And so our program is mainly volunteer run. And what our goal is to support these families by connecting them with community. And some of you here are involved, and it's amazing. I get to work with you on a deep level. And so, again, if you want to learn a little bit more about what we do, I'd love to chat with you in the back. But today I want to share my story and a little bit about my family. Here's a little picture. Someone made this actually this last Christmas, and this is my family, my immediate family. And when I first heard about Safe Families for Children, it completely made sense to me because I grew up in a family where we really did Safe Families, not knowing about what Safe Families was. And I don't know even who made this, but I was looking through all the names. There's my brother, our animals, my parents, my brother and his new wife, their dogs. This is my family. And then I get to the end, and I'm like, who's this person? And there's no name. And my mom's like, oh, you know how we always have an extra. So I just added someone there because I didn't want them to feel left out. And that's literally the truest of true. We always, I think back of all of our Christmases, Thanksgiving, Easter, birthdays, there was always a stranger, someone who wasn't family, someone I didn't even know, maybe way extended family or someone visiting, just new different people were always at our table. They were always in our home. And it brought joy. And so I was just staring at this for a long time, and it was just so funny how she added just an extra person because that is our family. And so I wanted to share this just because it gives you a little visual of the extra people that were always in our home. Like I said, we always had people coming in and out. When we left Southern California, my parents bought a 25-acre farm, which is a blast to grow up on as a kid. And a blessing to that is when my parents met people who needed a place to stay, they would come and stay on our farm. We had this cabin. At the time, it was a lot nicer than it is now. We call it the Rat Cabin. No more questions need to be asked on why. But we had this couple living in this cabin, and they had a few older dogs, and then they had like 5 puppies. And my parents told my brothers and I that we weren't allowed to go around the cabin or bother these people. They were supposedly just staying for a few months until they transitioned on. But I mean, when you know there's like 7 dogs in a cabin, you can't resist as kids. So early in the morning, we would peek and sneak and look in the windows, and we were just wanting to look at the dogs. And the people who were staying there, they would catch us and they'd give us some silly faces and we'd run off, acting all scared. But it was just such a fun time. I always remember we would sneak over there and try to get a peek at these puppies. And this couple stayed, again, like I said, for a few months. We actually ended up keeping one of the puppies, and then they transitioned on. And it was just a blessing that my parents were able to offer because we had the space at our farm. I have another memory of this man. He was homeless, and my dad met him, and he stayed with us for a couple weeks. And it was one of the kids' birthday because we always picked ribs, mashed potatoes, and peas for one of our birthday dinners. And this man, he taught us, whenever you eat or you bite into a rib, you have to give it the caveman growl. And so he showed us. We were like, well, what's the caveman growl? And he said, when you bite into a piece of rib, you got to get a big chunk and give it a little growl as you rip away. And as you can imagine, my siblings and I, that's literally all we were doing for the rest of the evening. But I tell you, to this day, I cannot remember his name. I could vaguely remember his face. But any time I take a bite into some ribs, I think of this man teaching us the caveman growl. And again, he was with us for a couple weeks, and he transitioned on. And this is really what my upbringing was. We had people come in. Sometimes we had family friends who lived across country who sent their older kids to stay with us for a summer. I have this one memory that is one that is almost closest to my heart. And my family and I, we lived inland from Walport. So we were driving to the coast. We were going to go camping for the weekend. And I was probably 7 or 8. So at that age, my trust was completely in my parents. I knew that the decisions that they made in their life would affect me and make me grow, thrive, would keep me safe. So as they pulled off onto the side of the road, I think at a local grocery store. My parents told us kids to stay in the car, and they got out to chat with this woman. They were just chit-chatting, and then I saw my mom come around and open our car door, and I saw these 3 little boys staring at us. And I was like, ooh. And my mom said, these boys are going to stay with us for the summer, and they're going to come camping with us. So they all piled in. At that time, it just was 6 kids then, or it was 3 kids, now it was 6. And they went camping with us. And they just were a part of what my family was already doing. I had no idea what that mom was going through. It was a single mom with 3 boys, but she needed help. So my parents said, yeah, we can take the kids. They may have regretted it that weekend. 6 kids in the sand, but it was fun. And throughout that summer, my siblings and I, we learned to share. I had to not only share my tangible things, my time, but also my love that my parents gave to me. There was a littlest boy, and he would cry a lot. And I just remember even thinking, you know what? He needs my mommy, and I can be there to comfort him. And so they did. They spent the whole summer with us, and they left back with their mom. And, we're a small town, so I saw them here and there, but didn't see them too much. Another story that I have, I probably could write a book with all the stories of everybody who's been on our farm and into our home. But I was early young adult, and I actually was moving back home. I asked my parents, hey, can I move back home? They're like, yeah, no problem, but there's someone in your room, so you're going to have to share your room. I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, yeah, it's a little 6-year-old boy. So I had to think about it. Not really my desired roommate choice. But I did. I ended up going back home. And he was a stinker, let me tell you. Very creative stinker. He would go and take my clothes and draw on them. And I had this nice leather jacket. He did this star and Sharpie. Cut up my clothes too. He made a pillow out of it. For the longest time, I couldn't find my favorite shirt, and then I realized he cut it up and made a pillow. I was like, okay, well, at least you're creative. He would always find my chocolate stash, and he just wouldn't eat one piece. He would eat all of it. So I would restock, and then he'd eat all the 6 pieces, and I'd find the trash everywhere. But the moments and the memories that I have with him are just, I cherish them so much. At night when he was crying because he was having growing pains, I would tell him how big and strong he would get and how he's going to have big, tall legs. When he missed his mommy and daddy, I would just encourage him and tell him that he's loved. When he was sleep talking, I would kick the upper bunk, tell him to be quiet. But I was his little sissy. And today, as he's 15 years old, like 5'8", 5'9", he calls me sissy and gives me the biggest hugs, almost breaking all my bones. But as a 21-year-old, that's not something that you want to do, really. Share a room with a 6-year-old boy who draws on your clothes, eats all your chocolate. It's a little pain. But it did something in my heart because I was able to give to him, and he was able to pour into me and show me that I'm valuable, and that I can be an encourager, when I really didn't want to be either. But it was God just moving in my heart. Well, remember those 3 little boys? I actually ran into the oldest of the 3 13 years later. He was a young dad. He had 2 little girls. And he came to me and he said, Marissa, I have to tell you this. The summer that I spent when he was about 24, 25 at that time, he said, the summer I spent with your family was the best summer of my life. And I was blown. I mean, I didn't even realize that could impact him, because in my head, we're just, yeah, come along, come be a part of our family. Best summer of his life, 25 years old. And he said, I have 2 little girls now, and I raise them as best as I can, modeling after how I saw your mom and your dad raise us. I was just mind blown at how we can be an impact to other people just by inviting them in to what we're already doing. Whether that's Thanksgiving, Christmas, you're going shopping, pick up a kid. We have no idea our impact. And I kind of want to end with this. I was reading the other day, and you all know this verse. God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. That's just a picture of him starting family. We love families. That's what the church is. It's family. And we know that God is love. And not only does he care for our families, the idea of families originated from him. So what does he, God, as love look like in families? In a family, love looks like strength. Strength that stands against the storms of life when everything else falls apart. The one thing you can always come back to. It's our family, the body of Christ. In Lincoln County, Safe Families for Children, in 2021, we were able to host over 120 children. These children either were in homeless situations, their parents were struggling with mental health issues, needed to serve time in jail, fleeing from an unsafe situation, and we were able to connect them with host families, people who were like, yeah, I'll open my home, I'll host a little child or a youth, a teenager, elementary schooler for a short period of time so that parents can work on their goals. But we also had 23 children or youth who we weren't able to host or support because we just didn't find the right host family for them. So my ask to you is look at your life. You may be retired. You may be in a season where you're busy. Like Luke said, we're all busy. Busyness is just, it's never going to end. But look at your season in your life, where you're at right now. How can you open up just a little bit? Your home, your time, your investments. Maybe you can't host, but maybe you can watch a baby for a few hours during the day, or you can mentor a teenager or a 10-year-old and be that light in their life, be that strength, that love that Jesus calls and asks us to be. So that's just a little slice of my world. And again, if you want to learn a little bit more about Safe Families and what we do, how to get involved, I'll be in the back with my family. And again, an honor to be here. Thank you, Luke. Blessings, blessings.